All right, let's get in here. Let's get going. We are going to be going through the season 4 blog post just landed. Saw it while I was playing ranked. Saw some exciting stuff on it, so we got kind of a sneaky peeky, which is fine. Get all set up here. Get these turned on right. I hate wires. I hate seeing the wires. So, go through my rigmarole. Get started. We got that season 4 blog post just dropped. Playing a little bit of ranked this morning and spotted that, so I figured I'd hop in, see what's up. And this is honestly looks like it's going to be a pretty good season. It should be a good season. Season 3, great season. Probably one of their best. Season 4, or Season 3 Reloaded, I'm sorry. Not the best. Not the best by a long shot. In fact, it was pretty terrible. Not the worst, obviously, but just coming from Season 3 to Season 3 Reloaded is the ultimate letdown. It's worse than like the day after Christmas. It's like the day after Christmas and you end up with your weird aunt and uncle that show up and they've never really like done anything. Like, they don't hang out much. You don't see them very often. And they showed up. And then you're kind of like, oh, thanks for coming, man. And then they give you a present. It's like weird socks. It's not even like good socks. Yeah, no, that's what Season 3 Reloaded was like. So, cool. So we're going to get started here in a second. We're going to jump into it. Basically, we're just going to go through the blog post. We're going to see what they have to say, what they say is coming, give some opinions on it, talk to chat for a bit, and then we'll be off. So here we go. Season 3 Reloaded blog post was, not unexpected. We've been waiting for this. There we go. So let's get going on it. All right. Warzone Season 4 full intel reveal. An unlikely alliance forms as Adler and Stitch join forces to expose the Pantheon moles. What even is the storyline? I have lost track of the story, to be honest. I have no idea what's going on. They really just dropped the ball with the story. I know they're trying to bring it back. I appreciate it. I've complained in the past when they get rid of the story, like they just haven't had a story. So I appreciate that, but it also makes no sense. Trailer was out a couple days ago. Had a lot of interesting stuff. Again, I don't know what the hell they're doing. But he's back. He's not dead like everything else. So we have the roadmap. I think we'll go through the details here. So let's see here. Launch window, content launch up to 72 hours after launch. All right. In season, so anywhere in there, and mid-season is obviously mid-season update or later. Multiplayer content. So what are they adding to multiplayer? Multiplayer season content summary. 5 new maps. Icelandic AOs with 3 new maps at launch, including Shutdown and Fugitive 6v6 core maps and a Blitz strike map. In the mid-season, partied up with Eclipse and play with. All right. Fridge is back. Everybody's been excited about that. New and returning modes. Pick up dog tags to drain the enemy's reserves in new team elimination. I feel like we've had that before. And a new fun twist on... Okay, yeah, it's a kill confirmed. Cool. Make every bullet count in the return of the one in a chamber. All right. One in a chamber is fun. And party ops, limited time mode. Okay. Let's see here. Get new equipment. So the Grim Reaper score streak returns from the original Black Ops. And that's a fun one, if you remember that one. Challenge, see here. Season 4 ranked play. And it's ranked. Okay. So let's look at the maps. Shutdown launch window is going to get... this map is... okay. It's a warehouse. I can't see the map. very well. Hopefully it's a good 3-lane map. Hopefully they're going to get back to their basics. Remember when they said, do you remember when they said all the maps were going to be 3-lane maps and then none of them were 3-lane maps because this game launched with probably the most dog shit collection of 6v6 maps ever released. Like, they're terrible. They have been horrible at launch. The launch maps on this were just, they weren't it. They were not it. And then, so hopefully they're getting back to it. It looks like it could be a good, it from this overhead, it looks like it could play like a 6v or like a 3-lane map. Hopefully they do. We'll find out later. Fugitive, another 6v6. Seems like, again, a strong candidate for a 3-laner, right? You have up the side. This middle courtyard might be a little rough. I don't know. It's hard to tell until you get into it. A secret CIA black site in the remote part of Iceland. Cool. Let's see here. Auto-learn strike a deal. The jailbreak. They get out. Blah, blah, blah. Blitz. Looks like a little... All right, so it's a 6v6, 2v2 map, so it'll be on the smaller side, should be busy. A little bit of a chaos map. Reminds me of that bridge map. Was it MW2? I forget when it was. Maybe it was Cold War. There was a map with a ravine and a bridge on it. And I can't remember it now. 48th Ronin. Wonder if the Warzone limited time mode at midseason will have wall running. You know, that's possible. It strikes me as weird as that the wall running got added in the way it did. Like, it just showed up in the code. And if it was added in, it would have to have been either literally recycled code from a BO3, or they're adding it for a reason. So it could be a mid-season thing, like an LTM. A lot of people have hypothesized that it'll be an LTM on multiplayer. I think it would play terrible in Warzone, to be honest. Let's see here. Eclipse map looks like a disco. Cool. Looks like it'll give me a fucking seizure playing in that map, but I'll try it and see how it looks. Yeah, they've done that before. And they love adding superpowers into I don't know why they've done this. I don't know. I think it's like 5 times now where they've added superpowers to MP games or LTMs, and then the hackers just like get them and put them in the main game, and you're just like, dude, why is this guy flying or like super speeding around the map? And it's because, you know, they're just robbing the assets from the LTM. Let's see here. Revisit Fridge. Okay, so Fridge, this is coming mid-season. So with the probably the mid-season update. Fridge, popular one from BO3, I think it was. Multiplayer modes. Team elimination. So a kill confirmed twist, given a limited amount of lives each round as they fight to be the last surviving teams. They drop a dog tag that can be picked up to confirm a kill or deny. Okay, so... Okay, interesting twist. So kill confirmed, but everybody has a limited number of lives. I wonder if they're going to be group lives or individual lives. I think that makes a difference. But it should be fun. Team's life pool. So probably, yeah, that's probably a team life. So if you have one person who's an idiot and just dies a lot, they're going to tank it for the team. Love it. Should be fun, actually. One in the chamber. One in the chamber is one of my favorites. It's an all-time enjoyable one. You get one bullet, you kill somebody, you get another bullet, and then you get your knife otherwise. And so it's always good to see who's good on the shot. It's always, I believe, also been like one shot to kill. So you hit somebody anywhere and they're dead. So cool. Party ops. Let's see here. New score streak. Grim Reaper in season. Lethal. Yeah. So quad launcher. Fun. That was always a fun one. That'll be back. Multiplayer ranked play in the launch window, so probably launch a couple days after. I think they've been, they've been doing this thing where they launch the game, and then they wait to see if there's any like critical bugs before they put ranked live. Because I remember in the past they've had ranked where it's like, oh, we're going to delay ranked by 2 or 3 days, and then the launch goes well, and they're like, well, we're just turn it on today, like right now. And so everybody like, oh, ranked is back. So probably the same thing here. That's pretty standard for them. Rewards are better. I like, a little bit different than they've done before, but why is it dog themed though? That's kind of weird. Wolf themed, I guess. Is there a reason for that? Siberia maybe, or Iceland? Do they have wolves in Iceland? I don't remember. Cool. So ranked play for these are multiplayer rewards. I'm sure they're going to be basically the same for Warzone. I mean, I like the badges better than I liked them this season. This season's a little wild. The decal is okay. The blueprint's nice. It looks nice. 10 wins, you get the blueprint. 10 wins. Oh, yeah, multiplayer. Okay, I'm thinking Warzone. Like, you'll never get a win in Warzone. 10 wins in Warzone. No one will have it. It'll be the rarest thing ever. 100 wins ranked. Okay. Yeah. So same as before. Same format. Nothing seems changed. What do they say? Check the general section later in this blog. The full okay, whatever. Zombies content. I'm gonna just speed run through this because I just don't care about zombies. It's not my thing. I'm sorry if you're here for the zombies content, you should know by now. Grief is a mode 4v4. Wait, hold on. Maybe I'll read this. 4v4 competitive mode where two teams outwit and outlast each other. Capture zones to debuff enemies. No damage against other players. Respawns every third round. That's a take. I don't know if they've done that. Black Ops 2, I guess they said they had it in Black Ops 2. Cool. I didn't play zombies in Black Ops 2, so not surprised that I didn't hear about this. All right, interesting. Indirect PvP combat. The action is almost immediate as both teams dropping on either side of the same arena. And indirect. So you can't kill each other, but you can interact with body blocking or slowing them using melee bullet. Nice. Troll. You'll just troll each other. All right, cool. So the Grief Arena, bunch of stuff going on. All right. So it'll be a mode. We'll see. Survive. So this is all Grief. So interesting mode. Not opposed to it. I'm glad zombies is still getting love. I know that was a concern that there was not a lot of content, looked like, in the mode. New challenges. So they don't get it looks like they're not getting a new map, like a new story map. So that might be done, or there might be one left. I don't remember what the leaker said offhand. But they're mixing it up and giving you some new challenges and things to do in the mode. So they're keeping it alive. Round-based zombies survives. Great. Looks like they got some stuff coming mid-season. So cool. New gobble gums, pay to win. I mean, bonuses to get if you give money for bundles. Okay. And Shatter Blast, adding that back in. I remember that from before. So let's hear more zombie stuff. Gobble gums, blah, blah, blah. Additional support weapon. Grim Reaper. All right, that comes to zombies. And Warzone Season 4 content. Here's what we're all here for. I'm here for it anyways. All right, so looks like we're getting the construction Nakatomi Plaza style thing. It's not quite Nakatomi Plaza. Probably because that thing is going to be copyrighted, and putting that in the game costs licensing fees, and they're not going to do that. But if you remember in Cold War, this is what we had in Cold War, right? Like this was the downtown where we had construction going on. We had the cranes, which added some interest. We also had, we had the Nakatomi Tower event, but it doesn't seem like they're bringing that back specifically, but this tower is going to be reminiscent of it and of the Cold War era. I don't object to them making changes like somewhat radical, and I know they're going to have to retread over it. I just don't want them to replace the OG map with the 84 map, because there was a lot that they did on the 84 map that sucked. And so I really hope they give the current map enough time to kind of like breathe before they kind of like import it over. Like, I don't mind this change. I thought this change was good for downtown. It kind of gave that point of interest more flexibility, right? You could do more with it. It didn't feel quite as unapproachable right now, I mean, it's like you got the roof and you're either taking the zip line up on the inside, or you're attacking it directly. You're coming in with a helicopter, and it's a little limiting. And it's, obviously it's a power position. It's the tallest building there. But once you get on the building, there's not a lot you can do. There's not a lot, like if the team's entrenched, if they've all got blast traps down, there's not a lot you can do to get teams off that building without going to another building, and it's just a sniper fest back and forth. I felt the 84 version actually had a lot more flexibility in how you played it, because you could chat, there were a lot of ways up, a lot of ways to get to it. It sounds like there's a lot of ways to move around in the building, and you can really challenge teams on the roof in that roof space. So, and that building just becomes, it becomes more of a strong point of interest. It's more alive than it is now, in a lot of ways. So I hope they bring that back. I like that point of interest. The cranes are interesting approach vectors. So it just kind of adds to it. I don't think it's a detractor. So that's my take. That's my opinion on it. I think off rip. So they're putting that in there with some zip lines and cranes and an interior. Limited time mode. Clash mode is back. We'll read about that, I'm sure. And then Resurgence Casual. All right. I think it's necessary. We'll see. Ranked play doubles down, literally 2 separate ranked play modes. Also a W. When we get to the ranked mode, I'll talk more about that. Cranes move too. Sweet. I'll get to that point here, I think. And that's good. All right, here's something that I think is cool. Specifically, I'm going to look at the hotel map. Not hotel. Shoot, what's the name of that map? The map we had in BO6, the one like Skyline. Skyline was a great map, and it was fun because there were elements that you could adjust. Right? They had the panic room doors, so you could cut off direct attack to in different areas and change the routing without radically like changing the feel of the map. So if the cranes are mobile, if you can rotate them, like you could kind of do the train right last Urzikstan, where you could reverse the train and stuff. I think it adds to the gameplay. I don't think it messes with the loop, but it provides opportunities to play the map, to play that area of the map differently. So W. Dominate foes with a gigantic new skyscraper point of interest available to operators within the vicinity of downtown. The old tenement blocks, Burger Town and SKN Con Center, have been demolished. Burger Town, oh no. And construction crews are finalizing a sprawling skyscraper that dominates the landscape. Look for a recon tour below. So, all right. Yeah, much bigger. I mean, look at it's a little bit of a different perspective, but it's a much bigger structure. You lose that little building with the helipad down there. And I guess the Burger Town was around the corner behind it, I think. Yeah, the Burger Town was behind it. So cool. The overall footprint, the diamond and perimeter security checkpoints. So, I mean, that's a big building, dude. That thing's huge. It's actually going to be great because it's going to undermine it as a sniping perch. Because look how tall it is. So even though it's going to look down on downtown and a lot of buildings, the ability to like hit shots on people that are moving is going to be much more difficult. Like, from here, like the smaller building, like I can hit guys on this little building. I can hit guys down here. I can even hit guys walking in the streets without too much difficulty. This looks honestly twice as tall. And that's going to just put more of a challenge in it. So in a lot of ways, the sniping from up here is going to be more difficult than it was before. I mean, obviously people that post up and don't move too much are going to be easy pickings, but generally speaking, I think it's going to be easier to, I think it's going to be harder to be, to sit up here and snipe. And then, obviously if it's got more going on inside of it, it's a bigger space, harder to hold all the access points. So that'll be pretty good. The diamond perimeter security checkpoint. So drop on the ground to the overlook. You'll be immediately see the ground to the new skyscraper under construction. Location of the old SKN Con Tower, flanked by 2 massive cranes. The building plot perimeter runs from the corner of the main bank clockwise past the post office. So big space. Yeah, huge. And a lot of open spots. So, all right. All the older structures, Burger Town, blah, 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 are gone. It's fine. Those weren't great anyways. Perimeter security checkpoints. So a lot of places to hide, a lot of debris sites. Good. Going to limit vehicle access a little bit. Nope. Yep. Not. All right. So you can get vehicles probably into the building. That'll be fun. Ground level construction sites. So this is reminiscent of this. This looks a lot of the what we had last year in Urzikstan, where we had these cranes that you can get up into, which is great. Let's see here. Groundwork, skyscraper, and final stage containers. Okay. The old Burger Town sign. Nice. Let's see here. Ground level restaurants. So new points of interest. So you've got a staircase. You've got kind of look like elevated lobby, restaurants at the ground level. So a lot going on. It probably connects through here. So a lot of levels, a lot of places to go. Okay. So there's a new Burger Town sushi bar. Sightlines around this POI have changed since season 3. Okay, cool. Yeah, I imagine there will be sniper positions, but they're probably going to be more limited, right? Like right now, you can get on the roof and you can just run the whole perimeter around it, and you basically have like 4 guys can hold that roof and have a 365-degree coverage of downtown. Just looking at it, it's going to be much more difficult to do that and not be vulnerable, right? So like if you remember last year in Trump Tower, is what we called it, Trump Tower, the on the roof, right? You had not only multiple levels on the rooftop, so it was hard to cover everything. Somebody could land on top. If you were down a level, you could land safely. If somebody was holding up, you could come up from underneath. You can come up zip lines. You can come up from the crane. There were just a lot of ways to get to the roof. And once you're on the roof, it's not like it's just, it's easy to pin somebody down, because on the current roof, right? Like there's some aircon units. There's a few other places where you can kind of take cover. But it's like if you're one guy on the roof and there's a squad up there, they know where you are, right? There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to go. You're just going to run for it and hopefully get off before you jump off before you get gunned down. When you have a roof like this with multiple levels, right? If you're controlling one corner of it, you're not going to have sight lines on your teammates, right? If somebody lands on or climbs up and engages one of your teammates, they can isolate them, and so you can aggressively take that building. Especially if you're a better team, you can win those gunfights without having the stack drop down on you, right? I think that's one of those things that is a huge positive to a rooftop like this versus what we have, which is much more flat and open. 2 huge cranes flank north and south of the monolith and are a great way to traverse outlook, with 5 separate platforms attached to the mast to the ground, 2 at ground and 3 at height. Okay, yeah, you can see it right there. So you can be here, here, and up here. And a control room. Use the vertical ascender to take an 8-second ascent to the platform. That's a long way to sit on a zip line, man. And if it's like the other cranes, there's no way out of it. So if somebody spots you, you're just toast. Legit. Jump to the overlook roof. Operators who aren't challenged by vertical will have wired and panoramic views. Cool. You can get to everything but quarry. I wonder how many people are going to. I wonder how many people are going to get long HDR shots. There's going to be some long shots off of that. Both cranes are also functional, and provided you found the necessary controls in the vicinity, on and off their superstructures. Cargo on the hook block and hoist can be summoned and moved to various locations around it. Oh, that's cool. Zip lines and cover. So there are vertical and horizontal zip lines. Sweet. And each also has protective billboard and other cover. So cool. Good cover. A lot of stuff. I hope it plays well. Entrance lobby lockdown. Okay. So yeah, it's got to kind of have a lobby with a lot going on, which is good. Substantial interior and exterior. shops and little stores to go into. So a lot to do, a lot of places to move around the lobby. So it's going to be a busy point of interest. And then this is going to be one of those points of interest that actually could probably hold 2 or 3 teams without them ever running into each other. Like it adds another layer where if you're trying to hide, you could probably hide pretty well in here until someone pops a UAV. But it'll be fun. It's a large central upper opening. You can fly a helicopter through. Nice. Yeah, that's going to be fun. It looks like they've added a lot of space that is just going to be fun to play with. So this is like an upper deck, right? That you can get if you can get a chopper in here, dude, you get some kills. That's going to be a clip. And then it looks like a penthouse on top near the roof. So awesome. And then the rest of it. So it looks like it'll have 4 towers eventually. So probably in a future season, they might finish this. We'll see. And that would be a good point. They could expand on it. Kind of reminds me a little bit of how they had Vondel and some of the areas in Vondel. So like those apartments over by the university, kind of how you just had like buildings within the, apartments within the building. So it kind of has that motif to it. And there's a secret room. Well, very good. So Easter egg, season 4 modes. So as well as the usual battle royale and resurgent playlists, Cross Verdansk and Rebirth Island major modes, Clash and Battle Royale ranked play return to the game. Clash is great. I loved Crash. Crash was a lot of fun. Had a great time on it. Great for practicing sniping against humans. So you're not dealing, if you're not into the bots, but you just want to veg a little bit, Clash was great. It was, it was like 26 on 26 or something. I think it's or 52 on 52. I'm sorry. Never mind. 52 on 52. Great LTM. I hope they keep it around for a while. So that'll be at launch. So it's team deathmatch on the map, and if I remember right, they either in I think they first brought it along in Caldera, and they would just point out a specific part of the map, and so they would just like in that circle is the fight. And then on Rebirth Island, they had the mode, and they actually would have different stages along. So good mode. So this one is going to be, let's see, Active Pass team-based mode takes place in around specific POI and pits 2 teams of 52 players to 13 squads per side. Okay, yeah. So no circle collapse, no last stand benefit for the survivor perk, and your loadouts available immediately. The plan is simple. Your side needs to acquire 500 points by the end of the 15-minute time limit. I wonder if camos are going to work. I wonder if this will count camos, because this would be a great mode for logging camos, especially just getting a limbs. Like if this counts camos, it's going to be great. Scoring. Okay. So a couple of points. Contracts are still there. Available locations. Expect clash matches to occur across the subsection of the match: Quarry, Boneyard, Farmland, and Promenade East. Quarry is the only one I'm curious how they're going to split it, because depending on where they put it in Quarry, if it's in the front end, right, then there's a lot of good buildings, there's a lot of cover. If it's like if it goes all the way deep into Quarry, then depending on how you split it, that one side of the map, there's not a lot of cover over there. With 52 people jammed in that some small area, that's going to be kind of crazy. So it'll either be great or it'll be a weird split on the map. Depends on the spawn points. Clash available vehicles: the heli, the cargo truck, the LTV, and the Polaris. So no motorcycle. That's fine. And it's going to be scavenger, search and destroy, and recon. So you won't be able to search and destroy contracts. Yeah, okay. So you're not going to be able to do all the contracts if you can get, what's it called on it? Camos. Search and destroy contracts. Expect the search and destroy contract to be available. So search and destroy, that's coming to the main game at mid-season. All right, cool. In-match events and domination points. So you get points for doing stuff. Cool. No big deal. Let's see here. Search and destroy contract comes some specific features in the buy station. Armor plates. Let's see here. Sentry turret, hand cannon, bunker buster, specialist. Okay, great. Field upgrade, door barricade in clash mode. We'll see if that comes to the rest of it later, mid-season. All right. The hand cannon is coming. In the future, SAM turrets. Doesn't seem like it's going to come to the other one. Train. Hulking engine. All right, so the train will be there if it's available. And UAV towers will be back. Cool. Power-ups. Speed boost, regeneration. Wait. All damage. Provide 20% generation for health. Okay. I was looking to see if maybe they had, maybe this mode would have that wall running, but I don't see anything like that. So not spilling the beans yet. Havoc Royale LTM at midseason, complete in Call of Duty Warzone match like no other, where rule bending modifiers twist the realities of the usual resurgence gameplay. Speed area with advanced for your loadout. Every new gas circle activates a different modifier. Okay. So mid-season, we'll hear more about that. Resurgence Casual at the mid-season, up at mid-season. So clearly, Battle Royale Casual mode has been a success. It has to have been a massive success. I think we all can attest to that from just reading the timeline and hearing people talk about it. Is coming to Rebirth Island. So clearly it was good enough in that mode that people said, hey, bring it to Rebirth. We want it there. So we will have Resurgence Casual. And that is this the first time we've had any kind of casual or practice mode for Resurgence. Cool. We'll see how it lands. I mean, with BR, I think it works with the way they move the bots around. I'm curious how that will fly in this casual mode. Hopefully it works well. I mean, we'll see. Ranked play, Battle Royale launch windows so within 72 hours. Grind your way towards a coveted position in the top 250, blah, blah, blah. Ranked play rewards. Ooh. What is that? Is that an outlaw lizard or a snake? What is with the theme today? Wolves in one, snakes in the other. Oh, Lord. Okay. Cool. First season win. Weapon charm is stupid. Okay. Well, all right. So it's here. It's a mode. Rank play resurgence in the mid-season. All right, so this is good. Rank play resurgence is coming back. I talked about this the other day on Twitter, but I think it's worth repeating. The ranked play resurgence is a completely different experience than we have in ranked play in Verdansk. And especially if you solo queue, resurgence is a much more comfortable mode to solo into. With ranked play BR, especially the way we have it now, the benefit to that mode is it's much more competitive. You don't have the resurgence cheese, you don't have flares, you don't have, redeploy tokens, you don't have all of the extra gulags, you don't have all the 27 different ways they gave us in Al Mazrah to come back into the game, which I think made ranked play there feel a lot less competitive because you could just always be coming back. You can always come back in. You can, get SR replacement just by surviving a little bit longer, which wasn't really as competitive as in nature. And it got to the point where the people cheesed it, where they would like literally drop flares so that someone could buy their teammate back so they could shoot them out of the air. Like It got to the point where it was ridiculous. Like it just got ridiculous. Ranked play Resurgence has, the rebirth timer, right? So you die and you just sit for a minute. All your teammate has to do is hide and you get to come back, right? There's no skill involved in coming back aside from avoiding other players and staying alive, right? Now, if you are also a bad player and your teammates are demons, then you're gonna just keep coming back and coming back and coming back because they're gonna keep getting kills, they're gonna keep looting, and all of that knocks the timer off, and you come back. So, in terms of being able to play this mode and get ranks, especially early ranks, it was significantly easier. I was able to solo queue all the way into gold before I really had a challenge, and all the way, probably gold 3 before I really felt like I was having to like work hard to carry a team to a good placement. And then on top of that, you have in ranked play, Resurgence, right? You just getting SR was easier, right? So in the small map, right, you could sit on an area, like if you took bio and if you were in bio and on the top of bio or chemical or any of these other points, if you take one of these points, people will just spawn over your head and they're just dropping in routinely. Like they're just always dropping in and you don't even have to kill them. You see them overhead, you put some shots on them, make them panic and just cut their chute. You've damaged them. And when they land, they're probably landing into a gunfight and they're probably going to die. And that was assist. That was an assist. That was SR for you. And I just remember games where I would have like 10, 15 assists. And most of them came from just doing that. Like I see you spawn, I'm going to shoot you. And when you land, I've damaged you. Somebody else kills you. And poof, I'm getting credit for it. I would get so much SR from just doing that. In Verdansk, that's not as big of a factor, right? Because you're respawning. The map is large. The player density relative to Rebirth Island is much lower. So, you're often spawning way away from other players. You spawn much higher in the air. So being spotted when you spawn is more difficult, and B, them hitting you is more difficult. So when you spawn in, like it is much harder. It is much harder to catch somebody spawning in, and much harder to hit them and knock them out. In addition, they spawn in with less frequency, far less frequency, because you're only coming back from a buy station, or you're coming back from getting winning your gulag. All right. And so in those modes, when you're coming back in Verdansk, the odds that you're spawning into a gunfight, unless someone bought you back late in the game, or you were like a buzzer beater on the gulag, like you're coming in and you're just not likely to get shot at as much versus Rebirth, where there might be 3 or 4 teams who see you spawn in and just all start shooting you at once. That was one of the biggest challenges, especially as you got into out of gold, into diamond, into platinum, into diamond lobbies, where much higher quality players are in those lobbies, and they're going to watch the air. They hear the announcer call, boom, they're looking up, oh, there's it, shots on. They're going to hit a lot of their shots. And because you're dropping in so much lower to the ground, which is how Rebirth works, the odds that you hit the ground unscathed are lower. And unless you are landing with your team that has taken a POI, the odds are you're landing into a conflict zone, and you will probably land without enough plates and you will die. I mean, that was just how the game went, right? So Rebirth was a much easier game, especially solo queuing. It was a much easier experience in the lower levels to advance and to do well in, versus Verdansk, which is very competitive, even in the lower levels, for all of these reasons, right? You have one life, you have one gulag, you have one chance. And then if you die, your teammate has to come up with $4,000 in a cash starved environment, right? That it is not easy to loot $4,000 unless you land on an orange box and you get lucky. Every other moment, you're going to get slammed by, you're just going to have a struggle, and you either have to pull a contract and complete it, or, you just spend a long period of time looting in order to get enough money to make one buyback. And so the competitiveness in Verdansk is much higher but it's a very different competitiveness than Rebirth Island. Rebirth Island, of course, it's Rebirth. It's a very small map, so kills are higher. The action is more intense. Few lulls in between, time to catch your breath or regroup. It is closer to a nonstop environment, which a lot of people prefer, right? So having both ranked experiences, I think, is probably the best of both worlds, because I'll bet a lot of people that don't want to play BR don't play BR ranked. Like if they're not BR people, they're not going to play ranked. The same way with, people that are exclusive BR people probably, took last year off and didn't play Resurgence ranked. I didn't play it until late I didn't start it till late because I was out of stuff to do. I was bored. So I think bringing both modes is terrific. I think it is the best choice that they could have made, and I think the player base will support it, to be honest. So let's see. We'll hear more about it. It's coming season 4 Reloaded. It begins at mid-season and will run alongside BR ranked play. And the ranking is separate from Battle Royale ranked play. I think that's so important because I could see, like I said just a minute ago, it's much easier to cheese SR in Verdansk or in Rebirth versus Verdansk right now. And so I think if they were a combined threshold, right, you could have somebody who just plays a lot of Rebirth Island and then they're given the same rank in Verdansk, like they might perform as well. So I think 2 different ladders, 2 different setups. I think that's great. Honestly, I'm probably going to play both. I'm probably going to play Verdansk in the first half of the season, and I'll probably switch over and play Resurgence and see how that is, because you can only solo queue for so far depending on your skill level, right? Like if you're Robeezy, you can go all the way. We saw that, but I'm not Robeezy, right? I only I am a pretty solid like diamond player, maybe platinum. Or I mean platinum player, maybe diamond on on my best days. And so I think having both available, like when I hit, because right now I'm kind of like at the point where I don't have there's no point in me solo queuing much from here on. I don't think I can have enough time to get enough SR to get out of gold before the reset, which is fine. But next season, jump in, get myself up to diamond, where I want to be, get to diamond, switch over and start over on Rebirth Island, and being able to balance the two, I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's a different experience, and I'm very excited to see if they can pull it off and to see if it's as fun as it should be. Okay, new gameplay features. Back to it. A new contract, field upgrade, killstreak perk, and ATV are all set to drop on Verdansk in season 4. Clash mode mid-season. Will bring a new ATV Polaris. Okay, the door barricade. That's interesting. I'm curious to see how they work it. They have a care package and hand cannon. So this is all for Clash, I guess. So new perk, Loot Master. Ground loot during Resurgence and Plunder Master. The Loot Master perk allows you to maximize your scavenging potential and gear up faster by increasing the amount of loot you find while opening caches. Gain the early. Okay. Cool. So ground loot perk gets you more stuff. Sweet. All right. So this is what they're going to do. So they're going to test this stuff in Clash. Search and destroy contract. Make sure that plays well, and they'll add it. Field upgrade, door barricade. Interesting. I wonder how they can break that up. So I wonder what the counter to the door barricade is. Probably C4 or something on it. And then hand cannon available, a care package. Okay. Loot Master Polaris Sportsman XP 1000. So nice reskin on the ATV. All right. So compare. So it's a little bit bigger. Hopefully the skins, if you have, do we have skins on the trucks? I guess we don't have skins on that, but wheelbarrow will be bigger. Call of Duty Warzone events. Check out the general section. Blah. Black Ops 6 general content, all modes, weapon details. So 5 new weapons coming in. Event Horizon. So new events, Battle Pass and Black Cell, as always. Store always works. New operators, store always works. And CDL information majors 4 announcement and other stuff. Cool. Still nothing on World Series of Warzone. Hopefully they aren't canceling it, or it won't be a last second thing. Primary weapon LC10. So this SMG, we've had LC10 before. So let's see here. Was it moderate rate of fire? LC10 was pretty good last time we had it. I think it was Cold War. Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully it's a good LMG or a good SMG. And then the FFAR. God, I hope they don't screw up the FFAR. This was one of the more fun guns to run, where you could, it was a great sniper support. It was great for Rebirth Island when it was meta. You could run this. I ran this, and I ran the Uzi. I think it was the Uzi SMG combo, and it was just great to run and gun on the island. So really good gun but it was great for sniper support. One of the best you could get for a while. So hopefully they stay true to it, and it feels, it'll fill that gap of can compete with some of these faster SMGs. Unlike now that they've taken out the AK, right? But it doesn't have that range. I think that was the biggest problem this was season 3 with the weapons, is you had the AK and the AMAX both, right? Where you could, they dominated. They were as fast as SMGs up close, and they were also dominant all the way out to 50, 60, 70 meters, and they would be very effective at those ranges. So there was no reason to run anything else, right? There was no reason to run an SMG. There was no reason to run any other AR, because the AK and the AMAX could just fill that gap very reasonably. And then on top of that, you had the HDR, which had no flinch either. And so you had a really big space, where it was just the AK or the AMAX and the HDR was just the default, because the AK and the AMAX were so good up close. They were so effective up close, and nothing could touch them. I think they did a really good job of balancing all of that in season 3 Reloaded. So that now SMGs have a very strong place in the game, in the meta. ARs are kind of more in their place now. And so this, but again, it kind of leaves sniper support being a little bit of a question mark, where, a lot of times the good sniper supports aren't the best up close. You're still going to lose to SMGs. Because they're more traditional ARs. And so the Growl is one. And so, the AMAX is still good, but it's still not, it's not perfect. I think that this hopefully will fill that gap, where it's got enough mobility where you can maneuver and play with play against SMGs. And then you also have to fight, you can fight a bit longer range before you pull out your sniper. So they've done that before. Hopefully it does it well. A marksman rifle, model 87 or model 07. Not 87, SX model 07, lever action rifle. It's probably going to be trash, or it's going to be overpowered. That's usually how these things go. A special weapon Olympia. No, tell me they're not bringing back the one double barrel Olympia, not since Black Ops 3. 2 shots, multiple round. Cut off stock gives you some control of the weapon's playstyle. I mean, hopefully at 1 or 2 shots, if you can quickly 2-shot somebody with this, it could be worthwhile. Otherwise, they'll get filed away with all the other shotguns that are just not worth playing in this mode. Even though they can be a lot of fun, especially multiplayer. So hopefully we'll see that MP. Pickaxe melee weapon. Hopefully 1-hit kill. In MP, hopefully melee doesn't suck. Hopefully they fix melee where you can actually have some fun with it, because right now most of the melee weapons are just awful. And then some attachments. So the Strider 3-round burst might make the Strider 22 worth it. Interesting. Okay. So you're curious to see how that works out. Strider 22 is kind of one of those weird ones. And G grip launch. So cool. More stuff. Full auto mod for the SVD. Interesting. Might be fun. And the tier 2 CQB auto conversion. So they're recognizing that marksman rifles and the semi-automatic sniper rifles, so basically the semi-automatic good, single shot type guns are just trash and have been neglected. So hopefully they'll get people using it. Make it a reason to use it. Stitch returns to the battle pass and Black Cell. Cool. Good way to separate you from your money. And otherwise looks unchanged. Special offerings with Black Cell. Let's see. You get. So what do you get? Okay, battle pass, Black Cell. And do they have tier skips still? Hopefully the tier skips are there. You get COD points, and if you don't get that, I don't see them mention the tier skips. If they don't put tier skips in the Black Cell, that's a huge miss. I mean, that's half the point of buying it, because most of their skins are trash. Although this year is not terrible, but most of the skins are trash. And the whole reason you buy the Black Cell is you can instantly unlock. You can basically almost always get the weapons pretty much unlocked up front. So if they're not doing that this year, that's going to be messed up. We'll see. This is, a lot of times they leave stuff out if they assume everybody knows it. So operators are coming in. Some of these I don't care about. Ballerina bundle, Crimson 1 in season store bundle. So Eva Macaro embarks on a relentless mission against high tables and most feared opponents. Ballerina, the highly anticipated new action film from the world of John Wick. Okay. Where's John Wick? Let's be clear. In the event, 10 rewards, and you get into the world of John Wick with a new Ballerina event. Prove your capabilities as a supreme assassin by slaying your way across multiplayer zombies in Call of Duty Warzone. Rewards include the new Essex model, marksman rifle, and Ballerina themed nunchuck melee blueprint for Black Cell owners. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for literally John Wick. Like, where is John Wick? If you're not putting John Wick in this and you're just doing in the world of John Wick, it's going to be the biggest rug pull / disappointment, I think, ever. So they better have that teed up. Ballerina, so that chick. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe they haven't leaked, holding it back. If it's a mid-season thing, fine. Challengers and upgrade to Black Ops 6 now if you haven't bought the game already. So that's it. That's all she wrote for the blog for the blog post. Obviously, next week it's the 28th or 29th, I think this kicks off. Did they say when it kicks off? I don't remember off the top of my head. 29th. So we should get the 28th. We should get a pretty good rundown of everything they're going to include in the season. Or at least, all the changes they're making for the start of the season. A lot of stuff that is mid-season, we will get more details about in a couple of weeks from there. It's a lot more than they gave us at the Reloaded, which is good. And they set up Reloaded to be a pretty good season for season 4 from what they've shown us. So, hopefully we won't have the same letdown we've had, we just had with season 3 Reloaded. Obviously, a Ricochet anti-cheat update we'll go live with it, and that'll be a good benefit. That's something that we're going to need. And, we're just going to need a lot more of these. We're going to need these things to be kind of more on the level, I guess. Like we need the skill of these updates. We need them to be functional. We need them to, to have good quality content, right? This trend we've had here has been just low effort content, low effort events, right? We've had one good event. We just had our second decent event of, with the endowment event, where you actually have things to do, right? It's not just grind for XP, grind for stuff that pops out of boxes. And given how this game has just absolutely been dragging the XP out, like XP gains out as long as possible, it's kind of ridiculous. So hopefully we don't see that anymore. Hopefully we get some serious improvement in the quality that they give us. If technical quality is up to par, then I think the game, will be in a much better, it'll be in a good spot. The building looks good. The change to, the new Nakatomi Plaza looks good. It looks like on paper, it should be fun to play in. It could be a disaster. Who knows? We've seen that before. It seems like it'll be fun. We get in there and it's like, oh, that's a mess. But until we get in there and we get to some time to explore it and see what it holds and how it plays, we'll never know. But hopefully we get that sorted out. I'm looking forward to the season. Seems a lot more to look forward to than we've had previously. And Activision, for the love of all things, please, please, please give us John Wick.